What's up, guys? It's Drew Schaefer, NFL slash football news or whatever the channel's called. I don't remember, but I've had this up for the longest time. And I have to say, it's 9/11, tragedies of whatever happened on 9/11. I obviously know what happened. Twin Towers got hit. Not only the Twin Towers, depending on the White House was supposed to be hit, never was. Um, I try not to think about it too much because, try to stay lighthearted as a YouTuber. And, 9/11 was, such a terrible thing that we have to remember every year. And, now, other than 9/11 going on today, obviously, which, I actually interviewed a few people about 9/11, so maybe I might make a video about, their stories of 9/11 and how, it kind of happened, but we'll see. Anyway, we got college football week 3 rankings. Can you believe it? We're already 3 weeks into the season of college football. That's crazy. And this does not include week 0, I believe, because week 0 we only had like a few teams play that were ranked, so we don't count that week. But I have all the rankings. I wrote them down, and we're gonna read them, and I'm gonna give you my opinion. Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, and Texas. All right, Georgia and Michigan played nobodies, beat them respectably. They deserve to be where they are. Florida State also was able to take care of business, and they moved up one because Alabama lost to Texas, which is where I believe Texas should get some props because Texas went into, and I have to say this too, they went into Tuscaloosa, however you say it. They went into Bama, won by 10. I believe that they might actually be college football playoff contenders. They beat them by 10, 34-24, so much deserved. So top 4, I have no problems with at all. I think they all are deserved. Florida State beat LSU earlier on in the year, got ranked 4th. Texas beat Alabama, they're ranked 4th now. FSU is 3rd. And Michigan and Georgia, they're kind of always up there. So I like those rankings. USC at number 5, it's kind of questionable. Now, of course, it's, respectable ranking for USC. I don't know who they played, but they played someone, so I'm pretty sure it was a nobody and they won. And, let's be fair. You play nobody and win, you're not going to move up or down. Ohio State at 6, what a weird year for Ohio State. Just to put it the least, started the year ranked 3rd. We don't do too great against Indiana. And, Indiana, I don't know if they're good or not, but we don't do too good against Indiana. We lose. We don't lose. We haven't lost a game yet, but don't do good against Indiana week 1. Then we don't play that great against Youngstown State, only beating them by 28, which, 28 is still a solid amount, but for Youngstown State, in-state rival, Youngstown State, not that great. I will say Penn State University. I don't know who they played this past weekend, so if you guys could tell me, that'd be great. But number 7, top 10. They've been top 10 all year, so not too worried about them. Washington. Washington, they started the year 10th, and I believe that the ranking's kind of deserved. Michael Penix Jr., the transfer from Indiana, he is so good at football. He's so good at what he does, In Indiana, I think he started the COVID year. The year where the Big Ten only allowed 6 total games, which kind of screwed up because I thought the Buckeyes were going to miss the playoffs, but we didn't. We made it. Notre Dame at number 9. Don't have too much problems with that, Notre Dame started the season with a win with a dominating win against Navy. Then they beat, who was it? They beat someone else, but they beat everybody. So far, they face nobody. So once they start to face a couple good teams, Ohio State, look at that game. The upcoming game, Ohio State versus Notre Dame. you're going to want to watch out for that game because if Notre Dame wins, they're probably going to knock Ohio State out of playoff contention unless somehow the Ohio State could find a way to beat Michigan, win the Big Ten. Like, kind of like last year, we kind of lucked into a playoff spot. I ain't gonna say we didn't deserve it, we just kind of lucked into them. And that could decide Notre Dame season, the Ohio State game. So we'll see. Number 10, Alabama. They lost at home, which is rare. Nick Saban's just a good coach, or it's either Nick Saban's a really good coach, or they play nobodies at home. I think it's kind of both, because I don't think, in my perspective, growing up, 2016-ish, Alabama and Clemson, they were the top dogs. It was Alabama, Clemson, and Ohio State, the three top dogs. And every year they were just in the playoffs. They were in contention for the championship. Of course, I don't think Ohio State ever won one. So, that kind of sucks. But at the same time, you can't put all the blame on Ohio State when they had to face some really good teams in the playoffs. Number 11, Tennessee, deserved. 12, Utah, deserved. Oregon, deserved. Oregon's going to face Colorado in a few weeks, and Colorado is red hot right now with Coach Prime. Coach Prime, his son at quarterback, he just completely turned around a 1-11 football team from last year to a 2-0 program. So they very beat the wins from last season. So Coach Prime's really taken that program and flipped them on its head. So yeah. Number 14, LSU, they lost against Florida State by like 20-some points. And ever since that, it's kind of decided their season. So I don't necessarily think they're out of the playoff contention, but they got to beat the rest of they're probably got to win the rest of their schedule. Got to somehow win the SEC, which I'm not going to say, it's going to be impossible for them, but I don't know if it's going to be too possible, if you know what I mean. Kent State University. Not Kent State. What am I? I was browsing, local Ohio colleges. See maybe where I'd want to go. And I think Toledo was one of the top ones. So. And Kansas State University, obviously. They've just kind of played a few games. Oregon State kind of just played games as well. Ole Miss, same thing. Colorado, red hot team, beat Nebraska. And they beat TCU. I don't think TCU is that good this season without Max Duggan. So to be fair, Colorado may have beaten some crappy teams, to be fair. So their real tests are coming up in a few weeks, Oregon and USC. If they somehow beat them, I think they're obvious playoff contenders if they beat them. We got Oklahoma. I think they've always been in top 25 contention every single year, even after Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield leaving for the drafts, respectively. And I will say, they haven't been great over the past few seasons, but they haven't been terrible. So, kind of always up there. Carolina, North Carolina, they've kind of always been up there as well, so not too surprised. Duke, after their stomp on Clemson, we realized that Clemson may not be that good when Clemson is unranked now, and they're ranked 9th to start the year. Not to mention, Charleston Southern was within 4 points going into halftime until they weren't. They kind of fell off and lost, but I will say, Duke, deserving of a top 25 rank. They've always been a basketball school, so to see them ranked in football, pretty impressive. Miami, kind of always been up there in top 25 contention, I'd say. Washington State University, the Cougars. I think they beat someone in the top 25, and they won. Gonna pick glass your tears? Do you have any Um, hold on, I'm trying to think who they would have played. Washington State beat a Big Ten team. I think it was Wisconsin. I think they beat Wisconsin, and that's probably why they're ranked, because they beat a Big Ten school. UCLA, their quarterback is. I don't remember. They're supposed to be good from what I hear, but I mean, you're only 24th in the rankings. The Bruins aren't terrible, but they're not great either. And in Iowa, ranked 25th. I think they were ranked 24th last week, so. No, I think they started out the year ranked, and they only won by 10, got unranked, and then came back into the rankings. So, congrats to Iowa. They're kind of staying up there. I remember last year, Iowa was like one of those teams. They beat a couple of top schools, and then they were like ranked, like second or something last season, or maybe that was a season ago. And then they fell off and lost a lot of games. And I think they ended up missing out on a berth in a bowl game. Pretty pathetic for a Big Ten team, but not expecting much. Anyways, I'm Drew Schaefer, NFL/CFB news highlights or whatever you want to call me. Just call me Drew. I don't care. Goodbye.